Hello! I don't know how long this video is going to go, so I'm going to record it in the old landscaping mode instead of profile, and it'd be a short. So you can see I've been playing about with some pre-shading on this 109G6. What I've actually just done is put the undercarriage on and bits on, so they're actually drying, hence its precarious positioning here. What I've done with the paint job, and I'm going to do the nose cone completely separate, I haven't put it on yet. So what I've done is I've black based it. I've gone for a dark base, and then I've raised a stippling white throughout. Now the underside, far more solid, but the same thing. It had a black and then a white, and it's going to have a grey coat eventually. A very, very fine grey coat on the top, a much stronger grey coat on the bottom, and then the camouflage. That's to get the sides to pop with a sort of lighter top and a darker bottom on the sides. That's fine. What I'm drawing your attention to is, you see these splatters here? We get a scalpel. You see one there, one there. You can see it's quite heavy here, and there's all sorts of bits. The reason that I went underneath so heavy was because it came on so heavy. Now I think I'm getting somewhere with my airbrushing technique when I'm using Aqua Revel colours. Revel Aqua colours. I really like them. So what I'm generally doing is literally a dot of colour to 4 or 6 drops of thinner, depending on how I think it is. I mix them in a cap, the black cap or whatever I've been doing. I mix them up, mix them to my liking, and then I add them to the airbrush's cup and apply them. The black went on beautifully. Absolutely beautiful. This is quite a gnarly black. I actually did some Panzergrew first. I tried with some Panzergrew to highlight the cowling and gave up on that and went from some plain Schwarz 08. Okay, so I mixed the Schwarz 08, just a dot of it from the paintbrush. Actually, a dot of it from that plastic piece of sprue. And then 6 drops of this and the white. So the white I came to, I thought, right, I'll give this another go. This is the Army War Paints matte white, right? So perfect coverage, it claims. I wasn't impressed with this when I got it. Okay, now I did get this free for review back in the days when I did Amazon stuff, but my opinion is still valid, and this is something I think is just wrong. So I shook it and shook it and shook it and shook it because I didn't want to think it had settled. I let it stand then for 3 minutes, let any air bubbles come out of it, and I dispensed into that white, the blue cap there, some 4 drops, and I didn't think it was runny enough, so I added 4 drops of thinner and let it mix. And my immediate impression was that this started to gain air bubbles in it. You can see there are like air bubbles in it now. You can sort of see them in the rim of the actual container, right? Compare that with the silky look of the aqua color. Yeah, the silky look of the aqua color. So I was like, what's this going to do? So I hit here with a bit of test. I hit here with a bit of test. I gave it a try out first, and it was okay. It was running. It was applying. So I started stippling. I started stippling this wing, and I got to come over the fuselage and start to do the opposite wing, and almost immediately it spat that dot. My airbrush has not spat dots. It just doesn't spit dots. So I stopped and I thought, oh, maybe there's white in the cone. Now there is usually paint in the cone because I haven't cleaned it yet. It's white, but it's the white I'm applying at that moment. You know, the focus isn't helping here, but you know, generally I try and get the cone right and the pressure right and everything correct. And I had been spraying the aquacolor, so I didn't change the pressure. I'm on about, what am I on? What's that say? It's a bit low, to be honest. About 12? Is it about 12? 10 to 12-ish PSI. And I normally go 10 to 14 depending on what I'm doing, but I've been using that exact setting with the black, no problem, so I carried on. 1 dot. I thought, okay, it's just a one-off. We can make it part of the damage for the wing when people are climbing on off the wing. So I started to spray forward again and move back onto the wing. And as I got onto the wing, literally about 2 seconds after starting to dipple, that big dot there closest to fuselage happened. And you'll see there's actually a few more out here because it just starts to spit. This starts to clump up. It just does. I don't get why it's considered great. The thing I've got about it is that it's talking about fine pigment and all that jazz. I don't know. There's just something about it where it is not going on well enough for me, and I can't reconcile that. I can't figure out. It's gonna go. I can't deal with it, and that's really rare for me to say about a tool that's in my tool paintbrush. I just don't trust it. I don't trust the paint, especially at this scale. At 1 to 72nd scale, you can't have a dot that big. That is like, what, 30mm hole, effectively, or dot. It's like, no, can't do that. But, the rest of it had sprayed on. Well, I'd started, the rest of it went on. So what happened is, on the underside, just in this center area, it just got worse. It got a bit worse. So you'll see that the center of the fuselage is quite light. This was a nightmare to do, side to side, just here, going back and forth across the underside of the fuselage. So yeah, it was just a bit of a pain throughout. But I don't know. We'll see how this comes out now. My next job tomorrow will be mix some of the grey, give it a complete grey coat, a very, very fine grey coat all over. Once the grey coat has sort of set itself down. Actually, no, I'm going to do some silver, then some chipping fluid on the wing here. Then I'm going to grey coat it. Then I'll add paint black for the spinner, really, really, really black for the spinner, and put the nose cone on in the yellow. I think I'm going to go for the yellow German combat scheme. So I'll do the yellow underside of the spinner and engine cowling. And then over when I say the gun ports, they're going to be interesting to mask. They're just that lump there. But that's what it's asking for. So yeah. But I'm just, Army Painter matte white primer, just really, really not worth it for me.